which was fun, and I noticed something about the stadium. I do want to get to that on the show because I wonder if anybody else noticed what I noticed the last couple of nights, and do you like what we noticed? So that's coming up on the show. Was that a good tease, or was that just confusing? It was a great tease, I think.
Great job, Nick.
I have a superstar in Tampa Bay that I want to trade. I'll tell you about that in minutes. Now, that was a tease, right? I got you.
There you go.
Superstar. Send him packing. We'll get to that here in just a second. That's what we're going to lead off. So I got a little bit of everything. Rays, Bucks, Bolts. TB, how are you doing today? How was your day off?
Man, my day off was relaxing. Got to spend some time with the pup. She got some treats. We went to the dog store, got a haircut, so I'm looking fresh. It's all turning up, man.
All right. Well, we're here, ready to do a full show, and let's start with the player that I want to trade. So I watched hockey last night. It was tough, a little bit depressing. Going back to the scene of the crime, Montreal. Watching them play Buffalo. Are you the type of person? And I think we kind of talked about this yesterday. You the type of person that roots for the team that beat you, or do you want them? Or not yesterday? We talked about last week.
Yeah.
Or do you want them eliminated immediately?
Well, I want them eliminated immediately, but especially when it's Montreal, I just don't want them at all.
That's true.
It's like it's double for me.
I want them eliminated because I think I'm rooting for Buffalo. Aren't we all Buffalo fans now? Like, not even because we lost to Montreal, but just for those people. I mean, they live in Buffalo. They have literally nothing except their sports. And, you know, the Bills always let them down. They went to 4 Super Bowls in a row, didn't come away with a win. And now their hockey team, and just seeing the videos that come out of there is incredible. And you know what? Even as good as the atmosphere is in Buffalo, a lot of Montreal fans in the house last night. A lot of Montreal fans in Buffalo last night. So it's not just in Tampa Bay. It is everywhere. But I did notice all the red in the stadium. But watching that game last night, watching Buffalo just manhandle Montreal last night, solidified to me that the Lightning need to make changes. Because let's just be real. And I said this before the playoffs started. They were never beating Buffalo. And after watching last night, I still don't think they had a shot to beat Buffalo. You want to see them get out of the first round. Don't get me wrong, but they weren't getting out of round number 2. You know, Buffalo had the better record against them in the regular season, and I think that would have continued in the playoffs. You could just tell all around Buffalo's a better team. And that made me realize, it just solidified it for me, and I think we already thought this after the loss to Montreal, but it solidified it for me last night. The Lightning need to make changes, some serious changes. And I want to propose a trade to you that is going to send a superstar out of town. He is a beloved player. We all enjoy watching him. He's one of my favorite players, and he has been. He's been really good for this team. He's a Stanley Cup winner, 2-time Stanley Cup winner. He is part of the core, but I think sometimes you got to blow up the core. No, I'm not talking about Nikita Kucherov. I'm hanging on to Kucherov. The guy I am talking about is Braden Point. Now, I want to propose this trade to you. And this is going to take some feedback from the audience. And I'm specifically talking to the hockey elitist who always say we don't talk enough hockey. You know, I will talk hockey every single day if you participate in the topics and the discussions that I put on the air. It's up to me to make sure the discussions are worthwhile. I think this one is worth the conversation. The phone number, 888-388-0957. You can also text in 82945. Braden Point for Auston Matthews. I say we do it. I say we trade Braden Point, who is one of my favorites. I've really enjoyed watching Braden Point play hockey over the last few years in my time here in Tampa Bay. He is a staple of this team, but the Lightning, they don't just need talent, they need urgency, and they need somebody with something to prove. Did anyone on this roster truly look desperate in the playoff series other than Brandon Hagel? I don't think anybody other than Brandon Hagel really showed us the heart and the passion that we expected from this Tampa Bay team, and I think because they're spoiled. They've already accomplished, a lot of these guys have accomplished what needed to be accomplished in the past. Now, normally you trade for a guy who has Stanley Cup experience. You're like, I want to get a guy with experience can come here and help this team out. I think in the case of the Lightning, it's actually the opposite. I kind of want a guy who's never been there, who's hungry to get there. A guy that's been stuck in Toronto. It's like being stuck with the Cowboys. All the pressure on you, but you just can't get it done. They're like cursed. Auston Matthews, despite, his Game 7 play and despite his playoff record, he is still one of the best hockey players in all of the NHL. And Braden Point, look, in the last 2 years in the playoffs, he's been down. 3 points total. Not having a single assist in the Montreal series when you have you have 82 goals surrounding you on the blue line. Not a single assist. Last year, nothing either. You got a goal this year, 2 last year. That's it, 3 points. I think it's time to make a change. This team's got to get a little bit younger. Auston Matthews provides that. 2 years younger than Braden Point. And Auston Matthews, you're getting the better player in the deal. So why would Toronto do it? Well, Braden Point's under contract longer. They need the opposite that we need here. They need a guy with Stanley Cup pedigree, a guy that's done it before, some experience. They just got the number 1 overall pick in the draft lottery, rigged. And they need a Stanley Cup champion to come in there and set the foundation for the young guy that they're going to draft. Now, Matthews obviously has playoff baggage, but some of that comes with playing in Toronto. Every shift is dissected. Every loss becomes a national crisis. And I think a change of scenery could really help him out. And by the way, he's played with Jake Guentzel before. They were on the same line at the Olympics. How did that work out? Auston Matthews, 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points, 6 games. Not bad. Going from the Leafs to the Lightning is like going from the Yankees to the Rays. And I don't mean that, in disrespect. I mean that is there's less pressure to win. There's less noise. There's more structure and a culture that is proven they can win here in Tampa Bay. Auston Matthews has never had that his entire career in Toronto.
Massive sigh of relief for Auston Matthews.
He could just come here and go, oh, man. Like, I can just play hockey and focus. Mitch Marner is from Toronto. Grew up loving the Maple Leafs. He left to go to Vegas. Why? Less pressure. Mitch Marner can walk down the strip and no one's going to know who he is. He can't do that in Toronto. He walks down the street and, it's fans wanting an autograph every 5 minutes.
Those people are nuts.
I just think that the Lightning's core feels a little bit stale. And Matthews changes the energy of the franchise the second you get him. He's bigger, he's more physical, and he just gives you a completely different offensive identity. I also found it, by the way, he's 2 years removed from a 69-goal season. I mean, think about that. And we often think of Auston Matthews as a guy who has no success in the playoffs. Now, I know plus minus isn't everything, but out of all of his playoff runs, he's only had 2 seasons as a minus player. Braden Point has only had 2 seasons as a plus player. They did just so happen to win the Stanley Cup. Both those times he was positive, but every other time, negative. And 2 years in a row now, we have gone with basically a pointless point. Now, he hasn't gone pointless, but not enough. Not what you expect from your top-line center. Something that you need, you must have in order to win a Stanley Cup. And we used to have that in Braden Point. I just think he's now on the trajectory of going downhill. And so I think the deal makes sense for both sides. Question is, are you willing to give up a player that you love so much in Braden Point? I think this team needs a shakeup. I'm down to do it. He's got the playing experience with Jake Guentzel, and he can provide you with just a different look, and he breaks up that core of guys, and he gives you a little bit of hunger. There's nobody that wants a Stanley Cup more than Auston Matthews, coming off of a gold medal especially. Can reunite him with Jake Guentzel.
Better to get rid of a guy early than a year late.
Yep. Imagine the power play with Auston Matthews and Cooch. Oh my God.
Unstoppable.
With Guentzel as well. It would be incredible. I'm all in on this. Where are my Lightning fans and my hockey elitist? 888-388-0957. I have proposed a trade for you. I want to know if you're down to take it. I want to talk to the elite Lightning fan. We claim to be a hockey town. I always see we got to talk more Lightning. And then when I talk Lightning, we turn into ghosts on the phone lines. Nobody wants to actually talk Lightning. I'm here to do it.
Text line's blowing up.
Text line is blowing up. I appreciate the texters. Texters turn into callers because I think this is a very interesting topic, and I want to know where we are at in Tampa Bay on this. Tim, your thoughts? Would you give up Braden Point, a player that we love? And I don't want this to sound like I'm just dogging Braden Point because overall he's a fantastic player. He's got more years left on his contract than Auston Matthews. And he's 2 years older. He comes with championship pedigree. I think it works for both sides. And here in Tampa, we're getting the better player. Would you do the deal?
Oh, in a heartbeat, dude. Like, that's a no-brainer. To get Auston Matthews after the gold medal, and as we've talked about, he's performed in the playoffs. He might not be the best guy, but he's got the numbers to back it up.
Now, even in the playoffs, his numbers are better than what people perceive them to be. They are better than what people think. I was surprised. I was like, let me go check out his playoff production. He's been really good in the playoffs. He disappears a little bit in Game 7. But again, it's the Maple Leafs. They always disappear in Game 7. All right, we got the phone lines going now. We're going to talk about this. I want your feedback. Braden Point, Auston Matthews, Tim and I both say yes. What do you say? 888-388-0957. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to continue this conversation. We're going to read some texts. We're going to take some calls. I threw out the trade offer. I want to know if you're down to do it. I think changes need to be made. I don't think the window's closed. But this gives you an opportunity to get a little bit younger in this window, and this is a massive shakeup, which I think is needed. So we're going to take your calls. We're going to hear your texts. Coming up next, it is the Nick Y Show. Braden Point, Auston Matthews. I like the trade. Give us Auston.